From inside the cleavage of a lot of vagina, it's the IGN Digigods. So please welcome two escaped convicts from Absalom, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
What an awesome reference. Corey, who's the sharp fan this week?
That was written by Kareem, insert last name here.
Kareem. Don't have a last name for Kareem, but thank you, Kareem. That was
Abdul-Jabbar.
Cool. No.
So, Chris Santucci just, actually he posted on the Facebook page.
Yes.
A couple of days ago, a little late on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And he had linked to this this article at filmmatters.net about the revenge of the box set.
Yes.
And how box sets are kind of coming back. And in terms of Blu-ray, they're coming back. And this article notes two box sets that if I don't have them now, I'm going to explode.
Okay.
They are the Alfred Hitchcock box set.
Yes.
Which looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
And the Universal Classic Monsters box set.
Which, by the way, we've requested both of them. Availability pending. So that's what they tell everybody.
Now, of course, there's the James Bond box set, which looks unbelievably amazing, must buy. I'm sure it'll be like $300,000. Oh, by the way, can I show you my driver's license picture?
You know what else there is?
What?
There's also the Alf James Hitchbond.
Can I show you my driver's license picture? I know this is
Alf
not...
James Hitchbond?
No.
No?
Now, I know this is not really like an audio sort of a story, but it involves my driver's license photo.
I'm so scared.
I needed a driver's license photo, so I went to the DMV.
Okay.
And I thought, you know what? I'm a little
so
old.
Scared.
I'm a little old for this, but when I get my picture taken, I'm going to try to have the dumbest look on my face as I possibly could.
Okay.
And you're a little bit nervous because you go to the photo line and you know that the guy's used to seeing, teenage douchebags trying to, make a ridiculous face for their photo, and then the photographer says, "Please don't do that. Take a regular face." Now, I'm not a teenage douchebag anymore. I'm a much older douchebag, and I said, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to actually arrange my face so that it looks like a smile that a stupid person would want. A stupid person would affect this smile. That was my goal, and I thought I did it.
Yeah.
And then I got my driver's license photo. I was counting the days. And
Yeah.
it was actually funny too, because when I pulled off what I thought was the greatest the greatest douchebag driver's license smile ever.
Yeah.
I was so proud of myself. And then when I left the DMV, I thought to myself, am I not too old to be attempting the greatest douchebag driver's license smile ever? I think I sort of am. So I counted the days until I got my driver's license photo in the mail, and it didn't quite come out as I had hoped, but here it is. Wade, take a look. This is Wade actually looking at it for the first time ever. Okay. Stunned silence.
I'm not...
Oh, come on. It's a terrible picture.
Have you seen mine?
Let me see yours.
Oh, good grief. No, you're not going to see mine.
Really?
No.
I
look like one of the vampires from Twilight.
Don't I look terrified, or it's like I'm like a psycho killer?
No, you look like you just had gum work done.
All right, you know what? Where's my phone? I'm going to take a picture of it. You know what? I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm going to actually post it on the Facebook page.
That's good for
as
you.
we record this.
That's lovely.
Now, no one will know what it is because this podcast won't post until
that's fabulous.
For another few hours. But I'm going to do that, Wade.
Okay, you do that.
When you talk about foreign films that no one cares about,
right.
I'm going to get up, grab my iPhone, take a picture, and post it to Facebook.
Why don't we start doing that right now?
Okay, gotta grab my iPhone.
All right, we're going to start off. I'm going to roll through this real quickly. I got a bunch of stuff to talk about first, but Film Movement, and this kind of ties in with a news story as well. We love the people over at Film Movement, and there's a new deal going on over there. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Get early access to the best of the Cannes, Sundance, and Toronto Film Festivals with Film Movement's Film of the Month Club. And you can go to filmmovement.com. Film Movement is such an innovative company, and we love them. They come up with great titles. I'm going to talk about a few of them in a second. But this is a really interesting thing that they're doing with their Film of the Month Club, because you can now stream it. And I tried to get a bunch of details on how this whole Movie of the Month Club streaming thing is going to work. It's going to be strictly for computers for now, at least. No widgets on your internet-connected televisions, and no widgets on anything else. But you like on the PS3 or the Wii or the Xbox or Apple TV or Roku or any of that stuff. So they basically said films will be streamed directly from our website. Any mobile device that uses Wi-Fi should have no problem accessing streams from the site. Films can be watched on a TV by simply linking a computer to a television, or internet-ready TVs can access streams by going directly to the website. But again, no, not if they have widgets. It has to be an internet television that can go directly to the website. So this is an evolving story, but we love Film Movement. They are good people. And to tell you just how good they are, we got 4 titles here from Film Movement. One is Amador, which won Best Director and Best Actress at the Ibero-American, or the Guadalajara International Film Festival. This was the Ibero-American feature at the Guadalajara Film Festival. And it was also at Berlin, and it's pretty good. I gotta say, I think they got a great pickup here. This is from Spain, and it's really just a great little immigrant story that could take place in absolutely any country in the world. And very nicely put together. Also includes a bonus short film from the U.S. by Gabrielle Nussbaum, which has an interesting thematic tie-in to it. Another great film is Queen of Hearts by Valerie Donzelli. This is a French film that completely slipped by me. As everybody knows, I take pride in making sure that I don't miss out on any French films. But this is great. This is, again, a great little tiny film, a simple story about a woman who is kind of trying to put her life back together after a really bad breakup, and goes and stays with her cousin. And fascinating, interesting little, typically French twist to her efforts to reconcile herself to the breakup after that. Also is Before Your Eyes, which is a nice film from Turkey. Turkey makes very lyrical films, and they're either an acquired taste. You either love them or you don't. But this is from a director named Miraz Bazar that I've never heard of before. Bazar, B-E-Z-A-R. No jokes, please. And this is a Kurdish story. So if you don't know the ethnic backdrop of this, you may not completely understand some of the particulars as to how it plugs into Turkish culture. But it is it's a little bit almost like some Persian films, some Iranian films. So if you know that scene, you'll understand this just horrible, depressing, just devastating family drama that I can't really say anything about it. It'll give it all away, but it's really just a devastating story and so well told, very lyrical. And this won a bunch of awards at the Istanbul International Film Festival. This one also includes a Turkish short film called It's My Turn that is quite good. But the best of the lot, I gotta say, King of Devil's Island, which is an awesome film from the Norwegian director Marius Holst. And it stars Stellan Skarsgård. And it's actually based on a true story. If you've ever seen any of those reform school or boarding school as prison movies, they're basically prison movies except set in boys' schools.
The best one ever?
Which one?
Well, it's sort of like this.
Which?
One of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah.
If
is one of the originals of that, absolutely. But this is a really good one. It takes place in a reform school that's on an island. And basically the story of this kid who arrives there, and he's reportedly a murderer, but you don't really know what went on in his life, and he kind of leads the whole rebellion and the revolt against the horrible headmaster / warden played by Stellan Skarsgård, and it is just really good. It is just really beautifully done, incredibly well shot, fantastic photography. I just can't recommend this film highly enough. Also includes a 15-minute short film from the UK called Bale, as in the guy who stars as Batman now. Anyway, those are a great bunch of films from Film Movement. And then also, I want everybody to know, New Yorker is back. Mark, New Yorker is back. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? New Yorker Video, New Yorker Films, as anybody might remember, went bankrupt a few years ago. They went under, and that entire library has been selling on eBay for like $100 and $200, and no one knows what nobody knew what was going to come of it. Well, anyway, they're back, I'm not quite sure what the business plan is that has brought them back, but they're back with a fantastic bunch of new titles and new releases of old titles. And they all come in these really cool eco packages, which I normally don't particularly like, but I think they do a really good job of it. They make it kind of cool and not so flimsily eco-y. Included here is a great film by Mercedes Alvarez, The Sky Turns, which is, kind of a weird, magical, realistic Spanish language film from 2005 that did very, very well at a lot of festivals. It's something of an acquired taste, but if you like those kinds of films, you'll love it. October by Daniel and Diego Vega was a big deal at Cannes. This won the jury prize in the Uncertain Regard section. And even if you may look at it and go, they've misspelled October. No, this is a Peruvian film, beautifully done, a little bit quirky, and some great special features on here. Not to take up too much more time, we've got Tibet.
Oh, no, wait, keep going. This is great.
Are you taking a picture? Are you doing
I
the
did.
thing? You did already.
Well, I'm
You're
emailing
posting
it
it
to
right
myself, and then I'm going to put it on Facebook.
Okay. Let me know when you're done, and then I'll wrap it up. Tibet in Song is exactly what you would think it is. This is from a former political prisoner who tells you the story of Tibetan folk music, and it's not all just that, throat yodeling and all that kind of stuff. It's really a lovely film. Straub and Huye are one of the most remarkable film-making duos of the last 50 years or so, and nobody's heard of them because they're kind of in the Bob Kohler realm, Very obscure. Very obscure, but very talented. This is a 1975 German language film of theirs called Moses and Aaron, an opera in 3 acts by Arnold Schoenberg.
Oh, God, that sounds so pretentious. That just sounds dreadful.
And you know what? It's a filmed opera about Moses and Aaron.
Moses Malone and Aaron Boone?
The Arnold Schoenberg opera. It's a film I had no idea ever existed because obviously their work is very much an acquired taste, but I thought it was beautifully done, although a little bit taxing in the patience department. Michael Sladek's film Con Artist is really just, this thing would have been a great movie in the 1970s. It's a weird, freaky kind of quasi-documentary, quasi-comedy that it just, there's no way to explain this. It's really peculiar. This guy, Mark Kostabi, was some kind of artist in the 1980s, and I never heard of him, but now it's just about how he is trying to somehow make himself some kind of a weird art performance icon once again. And then we have what I think is absolutely an extraordinary movie, Paraíso by Leon Aichaso. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing everyone's name in this, but Leon Aichaso is just an extraordinary director. Spanish language film from 2009, and this is just like one of the best thrillers you will ever see, not in English. This was the final film in his so-called Cuban trilogy. Goes along with the films El Super and Bitter Sugar, and Bitter Sugar is the one that most people have seen. Really, this is just gritty, intense, gripping, beautifully shot filmmaking, and it just from 2009 didn't really get the exposure that it should have gotten, but it's just fantastic. So that's a great bunch of films out there from New Yorker. Welcome back, New Yorker. But they don't have Red Sorghum anymore. I don't know who has Red Sorghum.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, Red Sorghum, at least that's a film that we've all heard of.
Yes. Well, Red Sorghum they released theatrically when it was first released in 86?
Something like that.
86. Yeah.
All right, I just posted my driver's license photo on the
Good for you.
Digigods Facebook page.
Good for you, Mark.
Thank you so much.
Tell us about music on Blu-ray.
I really feel I've accomplished a lot in life when I get to do things like that. Now, everybody knows Bachman-Turner Overdrive. And the reason why people know Bachman-Turner Overdrive is because they had one hit.
I'm taking care of business, Mark.
Every day. And the Overdrive is gone. They're probably too old for Overdrive. So now they're just Bachman and Turner. And Bachman and Turner have a new Blu-ray. This was recorded live at the Roseland Ballroom in New York City. And this does have a bunch of their hits. Of course, it ends with Taking Care of Business. Roll On Down the Highway. I guess that was an okay song. American Woman. You know what? Okay, American Woman. I'll give them that one. I don't like American. You know what? I don't like American Woman anymore. I used to like that song. Now I don't. It's kind of lame. By the way, I've decided that the Doors are lame. I used to love the Doors, and then I turned on the Doors. I now don't like the Doors. I'm over their music.
You turned on the Doors?
Yes, I did.
Does that make them
I turned them on.
Does that make them a turnstile now?
Yes, very good.
Revolving doors?
Anyway, Bachman and Turner. This is 2010. So this is
Wouldn't it be great
high-def
if they came back as the sliding doors, the sliding glass doors?
God, just shut up. Okay, Stone Temple Pilots. I like Stone Temple Pilots. They're a good band. I like them a lot.
You know the story about that, right?
Huh?
Like Stone Temple Pilots, STP.
Yes, I do know.
You know that story?
It's Shirley Temple, something or other.
that's the one. That's great. I
don't even know how it's true. That sounds apocryphal to me. I don't know. Like it's accepted to be
funny though, right?
It's people say it's true, but I think people sort of know it's really not true.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
it's still funny.
I do like Stone Temple Pilots, and this is from 2010. So it's looking good and it's sounding good, and there's a bonus feature here, interview with the band. I do like them. I like Plush. I really like Interstate Love Song. I like their hits. I think they're cool. So there you go. This is from Chicago, again in 2010, and I'm totally into it. I do like Stone Temple Pilots. Now, Wade, when I was in Chicago last month, I saw Roger Waters performing The Wall live at Wrigley Field. One of the best concert experiences I've ever had. And here on Blu-ray, we have Pink Floyd, nothing to do with The Wall, but still very worthwhile. Pink Floyd, The Story of Wish You Were Here. Now, Wish You Were Here was their album from 1975, and this had pretty much kind of the original lineup: Nick Mason, Richard Wright, Roger Waters, David Gilmour. And, it was a really popular album. Stayed in the U.S. charts for over a year. Number one hits. Things got an enduring legacy. It's a great album. And if you want to know all about the making of Wish You Were Here, then you should check out Pink Floyd, The Story of Wish You Were Here. This is the Pink Floyd album, for those who don't know, that has the famous cover of two guys shaking hands, and one of them is on fire. Not like CGI on fire. He's actually on fire. And there you go. So Pink Floyd, The Story of Wish You Were Here, very highly recommended. Also, Duran Duran, they attempted a comeback a couple of years ago with Ordinary World.
I think their new stuff is so good, and no one's listening to it. It's so good.
Have I told you I once saw Simon Le Bon naked?
Did you really?
I never told the story on the show.
Okay, hold on.
Are you digging in?
I'm getting comfortable.
Are you digging in?
Yeah.
So this is a long time ago. This is back when they were, sort of super popular.
Right.
So I was a producer on a talk show later on NBC.
When you're done with this, I'll tell my story about hearing John Woo fart in the bathroom. So go on.
Yeah, but
that's not as interesting.
I've got a natural segue because I'm talking about Duran Duran Live 2011, Diamond in the Mind.
Yes.
Anyway, so I was producing Simon on a show. Simon shows up, and my job on the show, as the person who had written and produced the interview, was to greet him, take him to the green room, brief him on the show, get him out to the stage, whatever.
Right.
So I introduced myself. I can't remember if he pre-interviewed. Anyway, he shows up, and he shows up in street clothes, whatever.
Sure.
And I take him to the green room, and I'm like, all right, Simon, Simon's like, I have to change into my rock and roll costume now. That was like his funny way of saying he's got to change into his like leather pants, whatever.
Right.
So like, all right, Simon, go ahead and change. I'll close the door, and when you're done, I'll come back and we'll go over the show. He goes, no, just stay here. And so I was like, you mean like, I'm thinking like, stay here like right outside the door while you get naked and change into your leather rock and roll pants? And no, he pretty much meant that because he's been on tour for 25,000 years and, and has done everything with everybody and ingested every drug and doesn't care and has seen it all. He's like, basically he's just saying, look, we're all professional.
Yeah.
Just come in, close the door behind you, and I will change into my rock and roll garb while you go over the show. So I'm like, okay. So I go in, close the door, and Simon takes his pants off, and I see Simon's bum.
Mm-hmm.
Simon's tight little shapely bum. And then I go over the show. Okay, that's my Simon story.
That's great. And how's the Blu-ray?
Great. It's live from 2011, so it's a bit past their prime, but you realize when you check this out how many hits they really did have. Hungry Like the Wolf and Wild Boys, Rio, the Reflex. I never liked Reflex. A View to a Kill. I liked A View to a Kill. That song was a good song.
That is a great song,
It
a
is.
terrific Bond theme.
Yes.
For an unbelievably bad movie.
Yeah. The best thing about that movie. Anyway, all right. This is Duran Duran Live, 2011, A Diamond in the Mind. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Okay, so you heard John Woo fart?
Yeah, I was in the bathroom at Lantana. I don't even remember what movie I was seeing, but there's a bathroom right next to the screening room over there, and I'd walked in, and John Woo was there mixing, I think, the Vietnam thing that he did with Nick Cage.
Wind Talkers?
Wind Talkers, yeah. He was there mixing that or doing some kind of post on it, and he walked in and went over to the urinal and just made a whole... There you go. And I thought, wow, how many people can say they were... privileged to that audible.
Oh, look at that.
I know. We're
What?
getting right to it, man. We're getting right to it. Actually, no, I'm going to just make a quick comment about a couple of documentaries first, both from First Run Features. A fantastically gorgeous, wonderful documentary called Voices of the Andes by Stefan Paco. This is a journey on the Capacñan, the Great Inca Road, which is just like a wonderful travelogue. Frankly, it's amazing. These are roads that just go forever. And the Andes are such a wonderful, weird, beautiful, wild, totally unusual mountain range, unlike anything else in the world. And of course, there's a lot of archaeology here relative to the Incas. And you know what? You got to check it out. And it's quick, 78 minutes. It rolls by. And then a really, really cool doc that I got to review for radio as well on KPCC. How much does your building weigh, Mr. Foster? This is by Norberto Lopez Amado and Carlos Carcas. And if you are any kind of student of architecture, you definitely know the name of the amazing Norman Foster, who is a British architect who has done some of the most astonishing architectural work in history, including the Reichstag in Berlin and the Beijing airport and the Hearst building in New York, the Swiss Tower in London. I mean, really amazing stuff. And this is a fascinating look at his upbringing, his life, his legacy, his inspirations. And you know how basically the guts of how he does such extraordinary work. And I love architecture. I just think it's one of the great kind of unsung arts. And this is one of the great films I've ever seen about architecture. Got to tell you.
What? Can I read some mail?
You want to read some mail?
Well, you know, I keep this mail in my inbox, thinking that we're going to read it someday.
Okay.
And,
Well,
I want to read it now. And I want to go. I want to
fly.
Okay.
Fly with the mail. We're going to have a Vox box later too, by the way.
Up too soon.
Yeah, too soon. Hit us with mail.
Okay. Well, we have from Peter Kozaries. Kozaries?
Kazoris.
It is not.
I guess. I'm just fine. Go ahead. Carry on, mailman.
That's what Mr. K says. Hey, Digigods, I felt compelled to write in and elaborate on the Canadian content article I wrote about a few weeks back. This requirement, quote, was put in place to protect Canadian culture and heritage from the dominating American landscape that we Canadians tend to import via television, film, music. Some also claim the very existence of these regulations indicate a lack of confidence that Canadian content can compete in Canada based on merit alone. Happy belated Independence Day. It really is funny how it's, you know, the French are the same way. They're very protective of their homegrown product.
And I actually wrote him back because, you know, I wrote that article, The Unusual Province of Canadian Film, for the LA Times a bunch of years ago. And I was hoping that someone would pick up and realize that there was a Canadian new wave that was, you know, exploding. And, of course, I'm the only person that appears to have declared their...
Like Adam McGoyan?
Well, no, it was Adam McGoyan. I mean, it was a whole bunch of them, actually. You know, there's the like a whole subculture. You know, the guy who did Red Violin is part of that.
Cronenberg is Canadian?
Cronenberg is sort of he's sort of a predecessor to that, but there's a lot of the stuff from Quebec figures into that.
It's really the TV stuff. The TV stuff is what bothers me.
You know, the thing that's really distressing to me, and I responded back to him, you know, because there was a period, the tax credit era, that sort of preceded this new wave. The tax credit era was this misguided attempt to do just this, which wound up creating a lot of really bad hyper-commercial movies that nobody wanted to see, and a lot of really bad television. But you know, then you started getting people like Adam McGoyan and Don McKellar. And I think Don McKellar, who co-wrote The Red Violin and directed the amazing Last Night, is a great talent. But these guys all wound up falling into television. It's weird. It's very distressing to me. The Canadian New Wave kind of fell apart, and I'm still trying to get people to acknowledge that there was one.
Well, they're Canadian. They're lazy.
Yeah.
All right, Alexander Berlika, I mentioned this only because it was a very nice thing to do. I'm late responding, but we'll do it here. Before we depart for the long weekend, I want to take a minute of your time and wish you guys and your loved ones a happy and safe 4th of July. Hope the fireworks are awesome.
Very sweet. Thank you, Alexander.
There you go.
We appreciate it.
Who else we got? Well, oh, by the way, I do want to say we have a winner of the ice cream scoop, Wade. I had no idea the avalanche of emails that want the ice cream scoop. The world, it was billed on the IGN website as our worst giveaway ever. And the winner is Tav Rainey.
Way to go, Tav.
Tav Rainey's going to get the ice cream scoop, the
Very
worst ice cream scoop ever. It really is. Okay, any more letters? Wade.
Yeah, I got a couple over here. Ben Thompson said, I agree with your assessment of Prometheus's disappointments, but in the end, I did enjoy the overall movie, despite the ambiguities and stupid special effects monster moments at the end. That's why we waited to read this now, because I figure everyone's seen it by now. I also think it's a terrible idea to make a sequel following Sean David. But there are discussions saying a sequel might be possible. My question is, if there is unfortunately a sequel, would you like it to follow Rapace and Fassbender, be another spin-off directly leading to Alien, or something else? Personally, I think it should be left alone for good, with its plot holes and octopus creatures. Second question, on the subject of marketing, I've never seen a home video incentive like they did for Prometheus, with free tickets attached to the pre-order. Do you think this strategy will catch on in the future, and is it a good idea for consumers of the studio? Thanks. It's Ben Thompson. To the first, I think we both agree they should leave it alone. Just leave it the F alone. Don't do any more.
I don't think there's a choice. I don't think the film did well enough to justify.
No, I don't think so
either. It was not. It was. You know what? I think they were hoping for Inception type numbers.
This summer, think about everything that has tanked this summer. They have all tanked. Prometheus tanked. Battleship tanked. John Carter of Mars tanked. Men in Black 3 tanked. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter tanked.
Well, Abraham Lincoln. But Men in Black 3, they can always look on the worldwide numbers. It's been like 600 million.
It doesn't
worldwide.
matter. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be worth the money that they spent on it. The Avengers, big hit. But what are the other hits? Well, they're all like independent things, or else things that they never would have expected to be hits. They like Best Exotic Marigold Hotel and Moonrise Kingdom. And
I love Moonrise Kingdom.
Isn't that great?
It's so good.
These are the movies that are succeeding. The movies that they should be making more of, these dumb idiots.
Even Spider-Man,
Spider-Man will be good. That'll make money.
Yeah, it'll make money,
Yeah.
but will it? Are you now begging for a Spider-Man sequel?
Look,
Andrew
any movie
Garfield?
that puts those two actors in a movie together, I'm fine with.
I'm sure you are.
I'm fine with. And then also we wanted to make mention of an email we got from Chevelle Dixon. We had an exchange with Chevelle about all of the aging actors out there that wound up having an unfortunate and unexpected coda to it. Chevelle had written us and said, I decided to watch History of the World Part 1, and I saw it says Caesar in it and wondered if he's still around at the age of 89. I wonder how many other great older actors we still have with us today, and there are so many and so few of them still acting. And there are so many, and few of them are still acting. Here are a few of those actors and actresses still with us today. And he went and he made a list, and he came up with some others, including Doris Day and Olivia de Havilland, who's 96, Phyllis Diller, who's 94, Omar Sharif is 80, Ernest Borgnine, 95.
I
and
know.
then days later, he died.
You killed him.
But also on the list, Eli Wallach, who we always make fun of.
I emailed him back saying every time Wade and I see Eli Wallach in a movie, he was in the Wall Street sequel.
He's been 90,
Remember when he was in the Wall Street sequel?
He's been 96 for the last 40 years.
And when he showed up in the Wall Street sequel, you and I, sitting in the theater together, looked at each other and just were like, "You've got to be kidding me."
Angela Lansbury, 86, and I just the other day watched Gaslight again. It was on television. We sat down and we just watched it straight through. She was 17 in Gaslight. That was her film
Does
debut.
she work anymore, Angela Lansbury?
Oh,
Does
yeah,
she do it?
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. But in honor, then, of Chevelle Dixon's great question and great observation, and Ernest Borgnine's untimely passing, he is no longer on that list, Mark. Ernest Borgnine movie.
Well,
Are we going to make a pick?
Well, my pick is obvious, only because
It's everyone's pick.
Only because I've been compared to him, Marty.
Yeah. That's
which
it.
won Ernest Borgnine the Academy Award.
It's Marty. I mean, he's just so amazing in it. Rod Steiger played that part on television and did a great job, an amazing job. But that part belongs to Ernest Borgnine. It just really belongs to him. He just made it his own, and he's so wonderful in it. Everything clicks.
Now, wait, hang on. Before we move on to the movie that you're not going to let me have, I want to give a shout out to Rodney Northern.
Oh, yeah.
Now, a couple weeks ago, I wondered how Bob became the shortened version of Robert.
Oh, yes. He schooled us, man.
He schooled us.
Yeah.
And Rodney did a great job. He gave us a wiki link and told us about how Robert is originally a Norman French name that meant of bright fame, and how it got pronounced in contemporary French and German and Spanish. And he really went to town telling us how Robert became Bob, or Bob became Robert, or Bob Roberts, starring Tim Robbins.
Great movie.
There's that too.
Tim Robbins' directing debut.
That is true. But I wanted to give Rodney a shout out and say thank you for that, because that was awesome. And now you're in our club. You're on our Digigods club.
You betcha.
Yes, Wade?
Mark,
What?
today, Chariots of Fire, the Warner Blu-ray book,
That
is released.
Awesome.
I love this movie. This is the legendary 1981 Best Picture winner.
An upset Best Picture winner.
Huge upset. This was I think this was. You could technically argue that Driving Miss Daisy was an upset winner. You could technically argue that Shakespeare in Love was an upset winner. You know, I still remember they brought out Harrison Ford for Shakespeare in Love to read Best Picture, expecting that he was going to hand Saving Private Ryan to his buddy Steven Spielberg, and he looked up with his shock in his eyes and said, "Shakespeare in Love," almost like it was a question mark. Shakespeare in Love? And next thing you know, Harvey Weinstein's walking up there to celebrate, and Spielberg has that dour look on his face. But in truth, that wasn't an upset. Everyone knew Shakespeare in Love was going to win. I think everyone except the Academy. I remember we all said it's going to be Shakespeare in Love. Driving Miss Daisy wasn't a huge upset either. That was at least the other film in the running. Chariots of Fire was not one of the two films anyone expected to win. This was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Reds or On Golden Pond.
Even Raiders. Now, no one thought Star Wars would win back in the day. It was just the popular hit that sort of deserved it.
Yeah.
But you had Reds.
Yeah.
Raiders, On Golden Pond.
Yep.
Atlantic City, which would never win anyway, and Chariots of Fire, and everybody. I remember watching that with my father. My father was such a huge fan. I remember him, who was not an emotional man. When they read Chariots of Fire as the name, he literally just screamed.
Yep.
He was so happy.
Well, this is, of course, a beautiful Blu-ray book. The booklet part of it is just sensational, but ultimately it's about the Blu-ray. And here's the thing that is really going to set everybody on fire here. Now, Chariots of Fire is widely believed to have won in what was a split vote. A lot of people think that there was a big chunk that went to Reds and a big chunk that went to On Golden Pond. And the Chariots of Fire basically came right up the gut and succeeded because that was the A-list vote. The A-list vote was split between those other films. But also, I don't think this would have won without Vangelis' score. That score became such an iconic thing on the radio and in pop culture, and everyone was making fun of it, and it was being spoofed, and it was so iconic, it elevated the movie in everyone's consciousness to where that kind of a British period art film never would have been. And without that music, it wouldn't have won. And the music, of course, won an Oscar over, John Williams in Raiders, that iconic Raiders score. And the other interesting thing, and I had a conversation with my friend Michael Venables on this, the music on the soundtrack that you would buy on the CD, not the same as the score. It was a different performance. At least some of it was different, and some of it sounds like it was the same, and some of it sounds like it may have been edited. So the question is, did the movie succeed because of the music in the movie or the music that people heard on the radio, which was not necessarily exactly the same as the music in the movie? You following me?
Not really.
Okay. Well, the good news is there's an isolated score here. So you can listen to the actual movie score as the movie is playing, as an isolated score, which you will notice is different in many key ways from the more truncated, marketable stuff that is on the CD, which is a great touch. A lot of stuff here that's been out before, the commentary by director Hugh Hudson, and a few original featurettes, deleted scenes, screen tests, stuff like that. But we got new featurettes on here, too. 2022. 3 terrific new featurettes. One is called Hugh Hudson, Journey to the Gold. Looking back, David Putnam, a cinematic champion, looking at the film's producer, David Putnam, who now just works with all kinds of arts liaison stuff with the British government and lottery over there. He isn't really producing anymore, which I think is a tragedy. Putnam also briefly ran Columbia Pictures in a very scandalous period when he was then unceremoniously fired by Coca-Cola. But I think that was a great period because he shepherded The Last Emperor to an Oscar in 1987. But also a new featurette called Paris 1924, Birth of the Modern Olympics, which looks back on the actual Olympics from 1924 that the film is based on, the characters from that period. And it's all just in time, obviously, for the London Olympics. So I think this is great, and it is just a fantastic release. The transfer is first rate, and it even comes with a 4-song CD sampler that is utterly useless. But this movie is great. It still holds up, and one of my favorite films of all time. Mark.
Can I say something controversial?
Go ahead, say it.
The Vangelis score.
Yep.
The main theme.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Right.
Yeah.
Unforgettable.
Yeah.
A lot of the other score, lame. The cue where Ian Holm is walking around the track as all the athletes are kind of warming up. Lame.
That little electronic thing. Yeah.
Lame.
You know, I'm going to defend it until the day I die because I've been a Vangelis lunatic since I was a kid.
You like all that weird French crap that everybody hates.
But I fell in love with Vangelis when I first discovered him, which is when I was a kid and I was watching Cosmos on television, billions and billions, and there was a lot of Vangelis stuff from various albums like Albedo and Heaven and Hell that were used on Cosmos. And when I found out, I was like, who is this Greek maniac? Bought all the albums, listened to them a billion times. So I'm a Vangelis defender. I've seen him in concert, by the way, at Royce Hall. Extraordinary. I was there with Diane Cannon. Not with Diane Cannon, but, we were in the same row. Jeremy Irons was there wearing a red velvet blazer. I'll never forget that day.
Of course he was.
Memorable. Absolutely memorable. Also out is Big Miracle. And Big Miracle is kind of a big dud. This is based on that whole affair where the whales were caught in the Arctic up in Alaska, and it became like a big media thing, and they had to break the ice to help rescue the whales. It's anyway. Ted Danson's the big evil corporate guy, and Drew Barrymore is the environmentalist, and John Krasinski is he's got a history with Drew Barrymore, and he's a reporter. And honestly, the whole thing is just a great big saccharine formulaic piece of junk. A lot of money was thrown at this, and I don't think they got a whole lot out of it, but it's out there on Blu-ray, DVD, and digital copy. I will say this, yeah, it's fine as a family movie. And all these family movies always find somebody who's willing to give them some kind of family-friendly stamp of approval. In this case, they got the Heartland Film Festival's Truly Moving Picture Award, which is lovely, but it's still a crappy movie, but it won't offend the kids, so I guess that's worth something.
But I want to offend the kids.
Maybe.
Oh, wait, Guy Madden is a
lunatic
Canadian filmmaker.
Yeah.
And he's strange.
He's really odd. That movie, by the way, that you have in your hand there, Keyhole, that's his first digital film. So all the scratchy 16mm black and white look, it's gone, and I think that film totally suffers because of it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Guy Madden makes incredibly stylized black and white films that look like nothing you've ever seen unless you're from the early 1900s. His more popular films include My Winnipeg, which I liked a lot, The Saddest Music in the World.
Those are both good.
They're both good.
This thing is just like a rambling, weird, surreal piece of junk.
I think it seems like sometimes when these guys get older, they lose that razor edge.
Yeah.
And I think with Guy Madden, this one, which has a good cast, Isabella Rossellini stars in a bunch of his films. We have Jason Patric and Udo Kier. Who doesn't love them some Udo Kier? Anyway, it's a gangster story.
I've told my Udo Kier story many times before, but I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Anyway, here's the thing.
When I did the featurette on the last call, when I was wrangling you as the rampaging extra on the last call, I interviewed Udo for the featurettes on that. I did all the onset interviews for the DVD stuff, And Udo was one of them, and he picked up the stray cat from Lacey Street Studios and put it on his lap, and of course it shed all over his wardrobe. And when I said, could you just for the record state your name, please? I just need to say my name is everyone. Spell your name. I said spell your name. I need to spell my name. I'm Udo Kier. Everyone knows who Udo Kier is.
Sounds like something he'd say. Anyway, Guy Madden. I like Guy Madden. I like My Winnipeg, and I like Saddest Music in the World. I would rent those and introduce yourself to the crazy, strange, black and white, grainy, scratchy world of Guy Madden before you check out Keyhole.
Yeah, it's not. It's kind of
Wanderlust on Blu-ray. This is is not a good movie. It's directed by David Wayne, and it was produced by one of the guys who did 40-Year-Old Virgin. And in this one, we have Jennifer Aniston, who is the kiss of death for any romantic comedy, and Paul Rudd,
who I like.
Yeah, I like Paul Rudd.
I like Paul Rudd a lot.
Anyway, Paul Rudd loses his job, and he and the wife, hit the road, and they wind up at this kind of hippie community where they run into all sorts of crazy people,
but they find love again. Well, they kind of find love. It sort of rips them apart and then brings them together again.
Now, this movie co-stars Justin Theroux. Now, as you know, Justin Theroux and Jennifer Aniston are an item.
He's the hippie guru guy in the movie.
Yes,
he's actually quite funny.
Yeah, this movie is not horrible. It's just not that funny.
No, he is though. Theroux makes the movie. We got a thing here called Cat Runs.
Lame. Saw it. Lame. It is.
Starring Paz Vega.
Okay,
that was the most hostile dismissal.
It's the worst. I actually reviewed this for Box Office Magazine.
What happened to John Stockwell? I mean, he's a good director. Why?
I do not know. Why Spock? Why?
Yeah, why?
Well, let's see what. Here's what I in my review I called it dreadful, terrible. Actually, I said inside the dreadful action comedy Cat Run, there are 3 terrible action comedies struggling to get out. Let's see. Let's see. Stockwell has created a loud, ugly, and terrible movie that doesn't skillfully juggle its various elements. It throws them violently at your face and calls it edge. What else did I say? All sorts of crazy bad things. Cat Run is so aggressively miscalculated. Its creative defeat is total.
Well, I normally like John Stockwell, and I don't much like this movie. I agree with your assessment, but I do like Paz Vega. I will say that. I do like Paz Vega. I think she's good in it. I think she's better here than she was in Spanglish, which was just horrible, but still not being used correctly. So somebody's got to go find that actress a really good role. Oh, yeah, it's a Blu-ray, not a Blu-ray DVD combo, just Blu-ray. That's all they sent us. Don't worry. Not worth your time.
Someday there'll be a green ray, and you'll have to buy that too, Wade. Wade and I saw Jeff, Who Lives at Home, and I like the Duplass brothers. Wade does not like the Duplass brothers. So I was ready to like this film because as much as I really want to hate their shtick, I wind up liking their shtick.
Did you see the Dodeca Pentathlon?
Not yet. Did you see it?
Okay, yeah, I saw it. I'll comment when you're done talking about this brother movie, because that's another brother movie. Movies about brothers who can't get along. One of them that they did with real actors, and the other one they spent 4 years doing with non-actors, and they're both equally annoying. So there's no point. No point to the time or the money that they spend on their movies.
Well, Jason Segel and Ed Helms play brothers. Jason Segel, as you can imagine, is the schlubby one, and Ed Helms is the more, sort of uptight, straight-laced one. And Jeff believes in how the universe determines his fate and his path in life, and that's how he looks at life. And so he sort of wanders around town on one particular day, looking for his fate to come to him.
Blah blah blah.
And he winds up kind of walking all around town and stumbling into these crazy adventures and eventual enlightenment. And I just didn't like this movie.
I couldn't stand it.
Thing is that I never quite believed them as brothers. It builds to
which is the same. That's the same problem in the Dodeca Pentathlon too, by the way. Yeah.
It builds to a climax that it builds to an ending that made everything before it seem so manufactured. Mm-hmm. It's like the movie is manufactured to get you to that point.
I agree.
And I didn't really appreciate that.
And the Dodeca Pentathlon, same problem. By the way, here was the annoying thing with the Dodeca Pentathlon, which I won't say too much about because we'll talk about it when it comes out. But I had to talk about it on the radio. They weren't having any screenings because obviously they couldn't afford to. So here's how I had to watch the movie. They send you a link from Deluxe, the lab, right? So you get a link to the Deluxe website with a password, which and there are four little screens. So they have the movie split into 4 chunks. You have to watch it in 4 20-minute segments.
Really?
So you click on the one, and then it asks you to enter the password. You enter the password, and suddenly you get this horrible low-res streaming of a movie that already looks like crap. So it's all pixelated and noisy. And you watch it on your computer screen for 20 minutes, and then it stops. And then you got to click on the next thing, and you got to enter the password again. And you watch another 20 minutes, and then it stops. And I will say it was good for snacks in between, but what a truly, is this a security measure they need to take for this film? Is there just a swarm of pirates in China waiting to just flood the world with pirated copies of Dodeca Pentathlon? Are you kidding me? Seriously?
They actually may have so little money that they can't even bring DVDs of it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyway. An absolutely terrific film that just got no traction is Here, starring Ben Foster and Lubna Azabal, whom I've never heard of before. This did extremely well at Sundance and Berlin. It is, it's just a simple road trip romance, but here's the glory of this. It's different from any other road trip romance because, number one, it's shot in Armenia, which is such a beautiful, exotic locale. And Ben Foster has never had a role like this before. He's always playing these weird, aloof, bad guys or good guys turned bad. He's the guy who's selling out his friend, or he's the guy who's, selling drugs or whatever, because he's got that kind of edge to him. And this is just such a wonderful... he's just an engineer here. And Lubna Azabal is a photographer. And there's a weird kind of... it almost feels a little bit like Walkabout in some respects. But it's just a fantastically beautiful film directed by Braden King, who I think has a great future. And it's not on Blu-ray because Strand is not doing that yet with all of their films. There's a few of them, but not all of them, not enough. So we unfortunately only get this on DVD, but it is totally worth it. And it is totally worth it for the length. It's over 2 hours long, and it's wonderful for the full length. So just absolutely a terrific film. Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait.
I know, right?
Right. Blah. Oh, wait. I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise. I always have been. I do not apologize for it. And one of his best...
He's getting a divorce.
He's getting divorced. And,
He's settled.
Well, he better, because there's a whole lot of secrets that can come out about that guy. You want to get your ass out of the spotlight as soon as you can.
That was really a good move, I got to say.
You don't jump on somebody else's couch in 5 years when you meet your next...
Yep.
When you meet your next wife, who you will then divorce when she turns 33. You realize that all of his wives, he left when they turned 33.
We know the whole story here. Is the contract situation not even a secret anymore?
Supposedly the contract was 10 years.
Yeah,
but
she pulled a fast one.
Anyway, Universal is continuing their impressive, I like these, 100th anniversary special releases with Born on the 4th of July. This was one of Tom Cruise's, first, if not his first, super serious role. And I think he's great in it. Stone's got a lot to say, like he always does. And I think that Cruise is great in it. He's simple. He's powerful. He knows exactly what he's doing. And, Stone empathizes with Ron Kovic, the Vietnam vet who came back with pretty much paralyzed from the chest down. Empathizes with him, and there's a lot of specificity in the film emotionally and historically, and it's a bit like Platoon in that sense. And I like this film a lot.
I hate this movie. I do. I hate every single solitary second.
Why
of it.
is that?
It's just annoying and in your face, and it's loud and obnoxious. I know, but it is what it is.
You're asking Oliver Stone not to be Oliver Stone.
Yeah, well, the problem is he recently did that and gave us Savages, which is a big dud. So maybe I'll watch it again and give it a second chance. But I will say, we talked earlier about upsets. I was thrilled when Driving Miss Daisy upset this. I was thrilled.
Some people call Oliver Stone, a blowhard, overblown, that thing. But I think in films like this, he's not really being overblown. He's being impassioned.
Okay.
I feel he is impassioned.
Yeah. Another John Williams score, by the way, which is just all transitional. It's just all soaring crescendos to get you from one scene to another.
It's funny because of all the Oliver Stone films, the one film where you thought, wow, I cannot wait to see what Oliver Stone does with this film.
Yeah.
He did nothing with it, was World Trade Center.
Yeah, true.
When you heard that Oliver Stone was directing World Trade Center, did you think, "Oh my God, this could be"? I may hate this film, but he's going to go nuts on this film. He did.
Lost his edge.
Well, Savages, that seemed that's pretty edgy.
Not really. It really isn't. I'll give you a recap of what I said on the radio. Tequila Scarface, or Jules and Jim and Fast and Furious. There you go. That was my summation.
Good job.
Being Flynn is a movie that took just freaking forever to actually make it to the screen. It is unbelievable how many iterations this film went through, and I think Dustin Hoffman was attached at one point. Anyway, it winds up with Paul Dano and Robert De Niro as father and son writers who are both just unbelievably screwed up. And Robert De Niro, of course, is the father who's just, he returns like some kind of a half autistic type layabout vagrant who wants his son to give him a shot, and he's really disconnected from life. And the kid, Paul Dano, he's a mess, and he's trying to put his life together. And it's, the whole thing is just one of these seedy, just self-pitying, independent monstrosities that drive me absolutely crazy. Paul Weitz directed it, and based on the Nick Flynn memoir that I just don't really give a crap about. It's based on the book, literally entitled Another Bull-Ass Night in Suck City, which obviously is a title that they couldn't use for the film, even though Weitz wanted to. And you know what? As a Blu-ray, it's just not that impressive. It's not impressively shot as a movie. It's not that spectacular as a Blu-ray. All this BD Live Pocket Blue app stuff is nice, but they clearly know they don't have much because it's only got a featurette on it. So there you go.
I will say that I felt, although the film is flawed in ways that you ably enumerated, I will say that I really did not. I felt that De Niro almost cared about this character and was actually trying.
Almost, yeah.
For the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
He actually really dug in. And it's been a while since De Niro has dug in and not in one of those I'm mailing it in, going by reflex sort of a way, like Pacino does all the time now. Yeah. Remains is a terrible low-budget horror film. This aired on the Chiller Network and is now available on Blu-ray. This is based, as I said, on a graphic novel, which means that it's automatically making it to the big screen because it's based on a graphic novel, Wade, by law.
All graphic novels must become movies.
That is true.
Yes.
This is
and that is a law. Actually, it was. You realize that's buried inside the Affordable Care Act. It is. That like in those 2,000 some odd pages they're talking about.
Wow.
People don't realize that's part of it. That's why when Nancy Pelosi said we have to pass the law to find out what's in it, I found out what's in it, and that's in it. Isn't that amazing?
Did she really say you got to pass the law to find out what's in it?
Yes.
What kind of things that to say?
I mean, everyone knows.
You really said that?
You know what? It's one of those things that politicians say when they're kind of off the cuff. And then afterwards, I'm sure she went home and said, oh, geez, why did I say that? Because that's going to wind up on political commercials until the end of time. But,
my God.
Anyway,
okay, Remains
so
is a low-budget zombie film with a no-name cast, and I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I'd rather watch an episode of The Walking Dead. Kelly MacDonald, who does a great voice in Brave.
Yeah.
She played the voice of the girl in Brave.
I love
did a
Kelly
great job.
MacDonald. I've always loved her.
Yep, she was in No Country for Old Men and did a great voice in Brave. Anyway, she stars in this little low-budget nothing called The Decoy Bride. And it's all about this international film star is getting married to an author, and the wedding gets sabotaged by the paparazzi, and they decide to, get married in Scotland, and all sorts of. This local girl gets involved. It's like a decoy bride, and it's a romantic comedy that is completely and utterly, totally, completely predictable and not funny. It's directed by Sherry Folkson, who actually this is done by Hanway Films.
Yeah.
Hanway Films did this.
I know.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
That means nothing.
It means that it's they sell it at markets and at a heavy markup. McKenna shoots for the stars. Woo! Yeah, American Girl. I'm so sick of this stuff. I could scream. This is a Blu-ray DVD digital copy thing for people who have daughters that I guess they really don't care about. This whole American Girl phenomenon, it gives me like an aneurysm, total aneurysm. And to make matters worse, Nia Vardalos is in it, which is like, to me, cancer. And Ian Ziering, who really can't act, and then Kathy Rigby shows up, not looking that great, actually, because this is all about gymnastics, and oh my gosh, it's just so pink and cute, I want to scream. Nia Vardalos should just not be permitted anywhere near a movie ever again, not to write them, not direct them, not to be in them, just to not have anything to do with them, at least just long enough for me to recover. But I'm sure somebody loves this. You know, this is Universal's answer to all of those crappy Disney films. So somebody's going to have a daughter that will love this thing. And then we also have The Flowers of War, Zhang Yimou's epic film about the devastating Nanjing massacre, starring Christian Bale, as a guy who masquerades as a priest and winds up kind of inadvertently saving the lives of a number of Chinese people by sort of using the church as a sanctuary. And this is literally the most expensive Chinese film ever made. And I thought the recreation of the siege of Nanjing and the atrocities was just extraordinary. I think it's a great companion film. City of Life and Death, which also came out roughly around the same time, but was made a couple of years earlier, the black and white Chinese film. So, the Nanjing Massacre is just one of the most horrific incidents in the history of modern warfare. Certainly one of the most horrific incidents in the World War II period, and it's something that unfortunately we don't talk a lot about in the West because it was sort of over there. It was between the Japanese and the Chinese. It was before, the engagement with Hitler and Nazism and the Holocaust really became the centerpiece of the American engagement in the war before, Pearl Harbor. So it's something that we should do, something we should catch up on. Flowers of War, man, on Blu-ray, and it's a great Blu-ray.
Didn't like it.
Loved it.
Didn't like it.
That's your problem, isn't it?
Yes.
It got a Golden Globe nomination.
Oh, big deal. I can't believe that they somehow wind up injecting like prostitutes and sex appeal in a movie about the Nanjing massacre. It was contrived, and I just didn't like it at all. American Reunion is one last dip into the American Pie well.
Ugh.
They're bringing everybody back for one last go-around, which is to say, if it did well, they would give us another one. But it didn't do that well, so they're not going to give us another one. I think this is pretty much it for the American Pie gang. This is Jason Biggs, Allison Hannigan, Chris Klein.
They're domesticated
Terry,
now. They're all married with kids and stuff.
Minu Savari.
What's the point of that?
Eugene Levy. This is just so tired.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, look, it's outrageous. Look, there, it's a pie. Oh, look, it's outrageous.
Mark, shall we do the Vox Box?
Oh,
Wrap it out.
Should we do Vox Box?
Vox Box, wrap out the show with a Vox Box.
Hang on, you ready?
Ready?
It's Vox Box.
Hey, Wade and Mark. Chris Claro here. With all the talk you guys do of physical media and DVDs going away, what do you guys see as the future of my favorite parts of the discs, just supplemental materials? Once everything sort of floats away to the cloud, how do you think we're going to get our director's commentaries and the filmmaker interviews and the behind-the-scenes segments? Those are usually or sometimes the best part of the disc. Thanks.
That is one of the best questions I think we've ever gotten.
I like that question.
And I like it a lot because it's a question that very few people are even asking.
Well, look on Netflix, if you stream it,
yeah,
you can't stream
No.
the director's commentary.
No. This is one reason why, for starters, and this doesn't exactly answer the question, but it gets us in the ballpark. This is one reason why I don't think packaged media is going away anytime soon. Why I think they will continue to always have the option of buying a disc. You'll have your ultraviolet, view anywhere and whatever. That's not really going to take off, but there will always be some form of streaming and digital copy and whatnot. But you're always going to have the Blu-ray, and after the Blu-ray, once we start getting 4K televisions and 2K televisions, then we're going to start getting, the new disc, whatever or whatever new digital flash storage format. It'll probably be something like a flash storage format that brings the movie, in a 4K format. You're never going to be able to put the amount of data necessary for a 4K film on a disc, and you'll never be able to spin that disc fast enough to deliver that data stream. But they'll be able to do it with a flash drive. You have some kind of a small piece of flash that's even smaller than a circular disc, and it'll have hundreds and hundreds of gigs on it, and you'll be able to put a movie on that. So we'll always have some kind of an option that will give you those supplemental features. And those supplemental features will begin to focus more and more and more on the films where it's really worth it. Classic films. Criterion is always going to pioneer that. You're always going to have your Criterion releases. You're always going to have, your Chariots of Fire special edition and your,
American Pie.
Gone with the Wind. Thank you. But I think eventually what's going to happen is it's not going to be about Netflix. I think all the studios, this is my answer to the question, you can disagree if you want. I think all the studios are eventually going to dedicate servers to the films in their libraries. And you're going to have all the supplemental features there as well, and you're going to log on to, say, the Warner Brothers site through the app on your television. You're going to see the movie, and it'll have links to all that supplementary material. And what'll be smart about that is that you'll have a featurette on, say, Doris Day that will link to every movie that Doris Day ever made. So they'll be able to dedicate, in kind of a branching way, a much more efficient way, rather than having the movie on the disc and then all the features on that disc. All that material will simply be linked to whatever movies it all corresponds to. So a lot of the same featurettes will be linked to the same movies, but at least it will be cataloged in such a way that it'll be easier to find the supplements rather than expecting them to be attached just to the movie.
Well, I would like to see Netflix. Let's say it's Netflix.
Yeah.
And you want to watch Chariots of Fire.
Yeah.
Right now, when you want to watch Chariots of Fire, you only have one option.
True.
Stream the movie. That's it.
Yeah.
But it would be great if I went on Netflix, I found Chariots of Fire, I clicked on the button, and it gave me a list of things I can watch from that disc.
I don't see Netflix ever having the opportunity or the resources or the licensing.
They're not.
They're not going to do that.
But others might. And the studios might.
But when you start getting your portal to Warner Brothers or your portal to Universal or your portal to 20th Century Fox or Disney, then I think you will start to see that kind of supplementary material cataloged in a way that you can more easily find it, whether it's attached to the movie, whether you want to find it individually, independently. I think that's the direction where a lot of that stuff is going, but I still don't think we're ever going to see the end of packaged media. I really don't. I think people are going to want to own their stuff.
Well, if it winds up being on a flash drive, I cannot imagine going to Best Buy, whatever Best Buy is going to be in 20 years, and just rifling through stacks and stacks of little tiny thumb drives to find Chariots of Fire. That's not going to happen.
No, but it'll be attached to some kind of a cartridge. That's how it was with games. I mean, those game cartridges back in the day, and even the game cartridges today, it was just a little chip and a bunch of plastic. It was for marketing.
That's true. Well, because they want it to be big enough on the shelf.
That's it.
To attract your eye.
That's it. All right, with that, we are done. We'll be back next week with more great movies, television, and maybe another Vox Box. You'll be a hit with all the neighborhood kids.